Hi, and welcome to another episode of Heart, Soul, Legacy. I am Rev Wendy, and this is an opportunity for me to connect heart to heart with other leading edge visionaries that are doing work in the world that is contributing to a world of greater peace, greater joy, greater love. We are essentially birthing a new world. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to really connect and to dive deep. And I just invite you to pull up a chair, to well, I don't know how many people are driving at this moment, but just really allow yourself to just be comfy, because this is really an opportunity for you to have a soft place to land, to be held, to be inspired, to be informed and uplifted. And I'm really thrilled today. I have had the supreme delight of getting to know another parenting sister, somebody who's doing work in the world to really uplift parents and to shift the paradigm that has been in existence for so long around parenting into parenting that is compassionate, that is connected, that is empathy led. And so Sue DeCaro is one of these wonderful people. She is a heart-centered coach, educator, motivational speaker, and writer. She works with individuals, corporations, and families around the globe, helping them to navigate life's daily challenges. While integrating education, consciousness, and coaching, Sue helps people to feel empowered, grow, and thrive. Her passion is to help people deeply connect to themselves, to their children, and of course, to the world around them, creating a brighter future. She also serves as a member of the Wellness Council for the Unionville Chadds Ford School District, focused on researching and identifying best practices to improving student health. She served as a guest parent specialist and coach for Mind Valley University training and an esteemed member on the 24-hour virtual help desk support team for mindvalley.com, their month-long summer event in Pula, am I saying that right? Croatia. And that was in 2019. She's a prolific teacher and writer. She's been published in various online publications and magazines. She's presented at events featuring Dr. Shafali Sabari, Neil Donald Walsh, Marianne Williamson, Anita Morjani, and John O'Sullivan. She has been invited to be on radio shows and podcasts, including Heart Soul Legacy, and has also appeared on TV on the Dr. Nandi Show and a number of appearances on Fox 29 in Good Day and Good Day Philadelphia. So welcome, Sue. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that we're having this opportunity to connect again.
Yes, me too. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. When I think about heart, I think about how we're both very committed to living heart-centered lives. And so can you speak to the challenges and the joys of living a heart-centered life?
That's a great question. The challenges are, well, let me talk about what heart-centered means to me. I guess
Thank
that's a
you.
good place to start. Maybe 4 years ago, I stopped using my brain, and this is going to sound a little awkward at first, but I stopped using my brain to lead the way and started really focusing on the energy, the pull, the warm feeling that I had within my heart to lead the way of where I was going. And that's in work, that's in life, that's just every day, really focusing on how my heart was speaking to me. And it did take a little detachment from the brain power, always analyzing and fixing and finding and serving and, leading me where the brain thought I should go. So it really was new for me, but it came on like a powerful weapon and just, I ran with it. And I've been really focused on my heart and how my heart is speaking my language every day.
Mhm.
The drawback is, I guess if I had to say one drawback is the heart is finding for me so many directions to go in to serve that there's only one me in my little arena. I mean, there's lots of people doing this work, but I don't have a huge team. So I have to be very cautious that I don't listen to the heart, follow every step, every way, every day. Otherwise, I'd be booked solid. And some days I am. So I think my heart needs to remember to put self-care at the top on some days, because that is what happens. Is the heart is so passionate, just wants to serve and solve and help and support worldwide, that I have to support myself first in order for the heart to continue to do the work. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine just a little while ago, and I spoke about the fact that the mind is all about information. It's about the past. It's. I mean, if we really want to geek out on brain science, which is not what we're really talking about, the three areas of the brain, but the heart is the place of wisdom. So you've got
Compassion.
information, knowledge, wisdom. So I appreciate what you're talking about. And oh my gosh, self-care. I think it's a
Yeah.
lifelong, unless you are a self-care coach. And, I mean, so many times we teach most what we need to learn.
Yes, yes. And my day started at 8 this morning and will end about 9 p.m. tonight. And my first client, we were talking about self-care, and I was like, Sue, there's a reason this is your 8 a.m. client and that self-care is, on the front lines, because I do have to speak to myself often, just as I speak to my clients. And I think we can never have too much self-care in our life. So it's just a reminder when the passion takes over and we're, full throttle, to pull
Mhm.
back and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves first.
So,
Head, mind, body, soul,
yeah.
the whole person.
So do you find that meditation helps you to access the through line? Because the heart, as you're talking about it, the passion that we have as agents of change, as midwives to help birth a new world, do you find that it's meditation that brings you back into that place of clarity and stillness?
It's my form of meditation. So I'm not a sit for an hour and meditate or 15 minutes. I meditate hourly. And most of the time, it's a couple of minutes of grounding, feet
Mm,
on the ground, focused on the breath. I can do it anywhere at any time, no matter what. I don't do it obviously on client calls, but I could be sitting at breakfast and just suddenly need to feel the ground and connect with my breath. And so, again, I think being so in touch with my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, all parts of me, I'm able to see the need and when I need it. So, my husband, he meditates 15, 20 minutes a day, every day before work. We have to serve ourselves. And I think a lot of my clients will come to me and say, I should meditate. Well, should is not the operative word, because really it's what serves you and your body. And just because the neighbor meditates doesn't mean you have to do it the same. So
mm,
that's my form of meditation. It works beautifully for me. And it works all day and evening. I mean, I meditate a lot when I'm trying to go to sleep, because my my brain goes crazy at night in bed. So that's when I bring the real focus of, more of a fluid meditation to life.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that grounding, getting connected with Mama Earth, really
Mhm.
allowing the energies of the earth to ground you and anchor you. And no shooting upon yourself, anybody who's watching this, no shooting. And there's so many different forms of meditation. And that's what's so wonderful in our world, that we have opportunities even within the framework of what's happening in the outer world. We can walk, we can hike, we can jump, we can dance. Dance is one of my favorite meditations. So that's a beautiful reminder. Get your feet on the ground, breathe in the ground. And you can do that when you're seeing clients. And that's wonderful. I love that. And I love that your husband meditates 15 to 20 minutes before he starts work.
Yeah, I hope it helps. I don't know. I've never asked, because to each his own, right?
Yes.
And so, we don't judge another's practices. If it works and they feel comfortable doing it, that's what they need to do. And again, no shoulds. I
Yes.
shouldn't do it like he does it, and he shouldn't do it like I do it. Everyone needs to make their own choices.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, I can speak for myself. I need to be heavily meditated.
I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So do you feel like you're doing your heart's work? Is this how you started in your life? Do you feel like your life's work is what you're doing? Like your heart?
That's a great question. It's not how I started in my life, but it's interesting. When I was a kid in a dysfunctional family, I always thought I wanted to be a family therapist. But then when I realized how much school, I had to go through, and, you need your PhD and you need this and you need that, I thought, well, I'm not sure I want to go, to that degree. So I went to school for psychology and then ended up doing something different, quite a few different things. And I think the raising of my children, and my oldest being my greatest awakener, really helped me to find my heart and to see that there was passion other than what I was doing.
Mm.
And, I've really lived a couple of lives as an entrepreneur, semi-retiring once, not ever, giving up on the work life, but saying, you know what, I'm done with this chapter, and
Mm.
waiting to see what came next. And that's when the heart spoke, is when I heard of this coaching arena several years ago. I knew, I said, this is what I need to do. This is what my heart is calling me to do, to serve parents all over the world who are struggling raising children. And the interesting part of it is, my story holds a lot of value for parents. This morning, a client said to me, this was our first session, and I said, how are you feeling since we had our consultation? And she said, hopeful. And honestly, that's how I started my day this morning, and it warmed my heart.
Mm.
So I know that I'm in my passion, arena, because my heart is touched by people all the time as I stand in service to provide, my wisdom, my knowledge, my ability in guiding them and helping them tap into their wisdom and their knowledge. So it's a gift, I feel, that has been bestowed upon me to do this work.
Mm. I'm curious. So your story, is it the story with your oldest child?
Yeah,
Would you be willing to share about that?
sure. Yeah, I have permission. So my oldest daughter was, to give you like the long and short of it, at 15 months was climbing out of the crib,
Mm.
and we got one of those tents from a company called Right Start, which probably isn't around anymore, to put on the top of the crib, because we were worried about her safety.
Mm.
There's a zipper to it. She loved it. There was a zipper to it. She unzipped it. We put a twist tie on it to keep it on. She figured out how to get the twist tie off.
Mm.
I had to actually get a dog leash and connect it to the back of the tent for her not to be able to hurt herself, to get out of the tent in a way that, we didn't want in the middle of the night. So I share this because this was her mission,
Mm.
to push forward in a way which, served her. And so back then, sadly, people called it a challenging scenario or the challenging child. And I was reading a lot of books on challenging children. Today, it's a beautiful word that's used to describe children who are diagnosed. She was diagnosed with anxiety, depression,
Mm.
oppositional defiant disorder. There was talk of maybe borderline personality disorder. And so I think that the process of raising her and moving through a divorce myself when she was entering the teen years and trying to navigate what was best was when this all exploded, that, this is my life's calling. And so, many things that parents struggle with are things that we experienced in raising her. She really stepped out into the world, and there was a lot of lying, there was a lot of cheating, there just was a lot of things that went on with these diagnoses. And I'm not a big fan of labels at all.
Right.
So I only share them because they were information to help me cultivate a different environment for her to grow and thrive. It took years for me to realize that what I was doing was not working. And what I was doing was trying to create a controlling environment. And the more she was out of control, the more I was trying to control. And those forces don't work well together.
Mm.
So now she has children of her own. And it's very interesting because she's a young mom, and when she comes to me saying every night it's a fight about the bathtub, I'm very careful not to give advice, because I could give advice, but just to listen and understand that, yeah, this is hard. And sometimes we do laugh, and I remind her of, how difficult she was to get in the bath. And, this is just the kid way. So
Yeah.
what can you do differently today that you might not have done yesterday that will create a different outcome and maybe empower the child? So there's a lot more humor today than there was in years past. My household was very chaotic, and that has really moved me to make a difference and bring hope to more families. And pieces of my story get shared on a daily basis with the work I'm doing, because if it speaks to whatever the scenario is, I want my families, or I want my, the adults I'm working with, to know that I get that, and that, that story resonates, because I too have experienced some of that.
So helpful. Wow. Bless you. Bless your daughter. And bless
A lot
your
of gray hair.
Right. I get it. I get it. It's, it's like what doesn't, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And yet these, that's why I think when I've described parenthood, it's like mystical, mystifying, challenging, beautiful, hand wringing, it's like, especially when you take it on. I mean, really, the concept of heart, soul, legacy, like your soul, it's like your soul called out to you, her soul called out to you to do it differently. Do you feel like you're in alignment with your soul's calling?
Now I am.
Something that you think
Yes.
about. Yes.
Yeah, now I am. And I've done a lot of things in my life, and I'm proud of all of them. But I truly believe that now this is where I was meant to be. This is the universe kind of creating my path. And my daughter said to me at a wedding a couple of years ago, "Why couldn't you have been a parent coach when I was young?" And I said, that's the greatest question on earth. I said, "You are why I'm a parent coach. Our relationship, the growth we experience, the trials and tribulations are what led me to my life's calling." So I think that goes back even further. I believe that every child that comes to us or through us is here for our own growth and development. And so she led the way, even though it didn't appear that way. She led the way to help me to find my calling. And I believe it's also passed down to my other daughter, who is pursuing clinical psychology in her career, to also see from what we've experienced that it is the calling sometimes on the other side.
I love that. I'm of the belief that we have soul contracts with everyone in our life, because I think a soul is a very alive aspect of our human life. And so that's very beautiful. And I think of it as the why. Like the work that you are doing is the why, because it impacted not only your older daughter, but it impacted your younger daughter. She lived through this. And so now she wants to, I think sometimes the term wounded healer, and I'm not saying your daughter's wounded. I just think that perception, when you are around certain things and you witness certain things working, not working, it not only because of what is on your heart and your soul's calling, your mission, but I think it also informs some of the things that we get involved with.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, for sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So
if you're listening, you can miss the calling, right? You can miss the soul speaking and calling out and leading you down the path if you're not paying attention.
Well, that's such a huge component, isn't it, of really connected parenting, of that, the being able to reflect back, to hear what your child is needing, wanting, what they're expressing, and then also to replace the presence with a TS with a CE, that what your children want more than anything is your presence, your being present with them. And I just want to acknowledge, as a first-time mom, to have a child that exhibited some of the characteristics that you talked about as your daughter. There's no manual. Way back when, nobody talked about. So have you checked in to see what the unmet need is? What is it that she's expressing, and how are you? Like nobody, it was all about your child. Like, how do you control your child to fit them into the box of child? So kudos to
Yeah.
you for listening.
I think the interesting thing that you just mentioned is seeing your child's unmet need. And,
Yes.
oftentimes it's not the child's unmet need that needs to be met first. So in this case, it was very specifically my own unmet needs from childhood that I needed to meet first before I could meet her unmet needs. So it really just blows up everything in your face in order to see how you need to move forward in order to care for yourself and serve yourself and the wounds that you carry from your own
Oh,
childhood. And
yeah.
more people, and I'm sure you see this as well, are really learning to step into that place of self exploration and awareness so that they are able to show up with full on presence for
Yeah.
the children in front of them.
I think so too. It's beautiful. I remember when I first started doing this work back in 2004, I think there were maybe a handful of people, because really, and it's so funny, um, I didn't think this work was very sexy. Like, I remember seriously, when I was graduating as a spiritual therapist, and, I had one of my colleagues was saying, Wendy, I see you working with women and children and families. And I was thinking, no, that's really, that's what you see me do. That's it. I mean, it was like that soul calling. It called me, and 2004, my very first workshop was at the Agape International Spiritual Center, and it was called Heart-Centered Parenting. And I think there were maybe a handful of people collectively doing this work. So it's so wonderful to see that your work and Shafali's work and other people's work, it's out there. People are talking. Thomas Hubel, I love his work. Do you know who I'm talking about? I love
Yeah.
him, because the impact of trauma and the intergenerational trauma is something that I've had to address within myself, because the thing of it is, right, you really can't hide this stuff, because it comes out. It either comes out directly or it comes out sideways. And so it's wonderful that you listened and that you answered the call on your heart, that your soul was like, okay, all right, I think something else is going on here.
Yeah. And through all that work, here I am today, my own work. And, it's a lot of inner work, and
Oh,
it's hard work. As you know, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of commitment and dedication to move through your own inner wounds and healing, but there's nothing like it. The freedom on the other side is just worth every second.
thank you for doing that work. Thank you for being such a wonderful resource for so many parents. I mean, thank you. It's what a blessing you are. What a blessing you are to the people that just pop on your page or listen to one of your many podcasts or listen to you speaking. I mean, how fabulous that you were part of Mind Valley, and that you continue to do this work. So as this work evolves, you evolve. Um, so what do you feel in terms of legacy? What is the legacy you would like to leave, and what do you feel you've already uh, imbued legacy with in terms of your vibrational footprint?
I think that one of the things I believe in is no stone should be left unturned. And so I never think of legacy ever. So it's an interesting question. It really makes me, think harder today than normal, perhaps with my head, not my heart. But
Move into your heart. Let your heart.
okay, so and I put my hand on my heart when I start to get too head oriented. But I think the legacy. First of all, I want to change the world for children. I mean, it's no small task, but I want children to grow up in a way where they feel honored, they feel seen, they feel valued and heard, and don't end up in their 30s and 40s in a therapist's office. So, I really want to make a difference in this world. And I know I already am, but it's not big enough for me. So I have a lot of new things on the horizon that are coming out in 2021 that will really help to bring that difference of connecting this world in a greater way. And I think that will help us to see a different universe is to have a worldwide connected environment. So I'm working on a mission to connect us all humanity. I pick small tasks, to
Yeah,
work
I
on.
can't
So
relate to that at all.
I hope I hope my legacy is that I leave this world more connected than it was when I began, and if nothing else, the people I touch, I know I'm making a difference every day, and I want to continue to make that difference, as large or small as it is. Just impacting one family is a gift. It's a gift.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. And I think
It's a pleasure.
when I think of legacy, I think what you're speaking of, and I hear you say the word web, what it reminds me of is uh, Spider Woman in Native American tradition, which I love, is really the creator of the world. And spider web holds such deep wisdom, but the web goes out. So you talk about the World Wide Web, and you talk about the people whose lives you touch. And if you're listening to this and you're at home and you're maybe a new mom trying to figure this out, or a seasoned mom, or however you're showing up in the world, what's so important to catch from what Sue said is that you matter, that just by being you, by listening to your children in the way that Sue was speaking about, what we were talking about, catching that and helping children to grow up in a world where they're so cherished and valued, by doing that, you influence the world. You take care of the women, you take care of the men who mother, and you raise a nation.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so,
And parenting is one of the hardest jobs we'll ever have to. I mean, it's not a job, it's one of the hardest things we'll ever have to do. So we need to love ourselves a little more too, as we, if you're just entering into this arena, because it's not easy, and it calls for a lot. So be gentle and loving with yourself as you go through, the raising of these beautiful spirits in front of you.
Absolutely. And they're not here by accident. There's not a mistake in the bunch. You're not a mistake. I'm not a mistake. Sue's not a mistake. None of us are here by accident. And we are imbued with a power within us and opportunities to spread love and peace and truth, and to be real. I mean, when you think about boots on the ground, I mean, parents and those who mentor, I mean, there's people that I have such enormous respect who mentor children. Maybe they didn't birth a child, maybe they're foster parents, maybe they're adopting, but maybe they're reparenting themselves. It's all valuable, and you matter. We carry heart soul legacy within us. So I'm so thank you for those words of wisdom, Sue. You will leave no stone unturned. I so identify, and that you're creating these wonderful opportunities in this year 2021 that is upon us to really have your mission, have people connected, and to help the kids.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a better world.
Well, birthing a new world.
Birthing a new world next year.
Yes, because I think so. We have a lot before us. We have a lot before us. So thank Goddess, God, whatever you want to call it, for you, Sue, for the work that you're doing, and for what you're creating for people to come forward and be connected globally. So is there anything else you would like to say before we close, and how can people connect with you?
If I can support you in any way, even if you just want to relate your story to me, I'm happy to listen. You can find me on my website at www.suedecaro.com, and I'd be happy to connect in any way that helps you move forward.
Thank you so much. And that's
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm going to spell your name. It's SUEDECARO. And it's like Caro syrup. If you're from the South, Caro syrup is really sweet. So
Yeah.
it's Sweet Sue. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, thank you. I like that. I'm going to steal that and keep that with me. Sweet Sue.
Okay, good.
Thank
So
you, Wendy. I appreciate it.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the work you're doing. I really cherish our connection. And thank you for being here to share your wisdom and your experience. And for everyone watching, this is Heart, Soul, Legacy. I am Rev Wendy, and this was Sue DeCaro, and we have more for you. So stay tuned, stay connected, and stay well. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
Mhm.